فاصبر صبرا جميلا.
ومنها التبرك بالصالحين وآثارهم والصلاة في المواضع التي صلوا بها وطلب التبريك منهم. The second benefit, he says, is seek blessings from the righteous, and to seek blessings in what they leave behind, or the places in which they used to sit or rest or pray and things like this, and to seek barakah from them. Obviously, this is going to be problematic to say this and the concept itself. How can he say that we can seek barakah from other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can he say that we can seek barakah from righteous men? Is this true or is this false? Is this correct or is it incorrect? We know that there are certain types of barakah or certain types of seeking of barakah which is valid and correct and true. And other types, other ways which are invalid, which are false, which are haram. So if one says, I want to study with this teacher, and no doubt he's been studying for a while, he's traveled the world in the 7 seas, as they say. He's been around, he's taught people, he has experience, and he's produced many students. I believe that Allah has given him some type of barakah. And I want some of the barakah that this sheikh has, his ilm, his experience, his akhlaq, etc. Then that's one thing. But if you mean that the person's barakah is dhatiyah, lazima, the barakah of the one's body, the barakah of a place, the barakah of one's actual essence itself, then that's clearly going to be problematic. That's clearly going to be what? Problematic. And the only one who had that type of barakah was the Prophet ﷺ from this ummah. The barakah, which was physical and metaphysical. The Prophet ﷺ's hair was barakah in it. His sweat had barakah in it, etc. And also the Prophet ﷺ's message, his life, what he did, what he said, how he taught, how he behaved, what Allah had given him was also a means of barakah, the metaphysical barakah. But the righteous people, scholars, warriors, people who benefit Islam with their wealth, etc., they have no physical barakah with them. I'm not going to rub him or touch him or sit in his chair and so on and so on and what? And so on. Now, if this is the case, and obviously the ulama, they've pointed these things out, the researchers of today have pointed these things out. The question is, Ahmed, how can we read this book? And how can we study this book? How is the first book that we tell the beginning student of knowledge to read about hadith is 40 hadith an-Nawawi? And he made a what? A mistake. An aqidah or not an aqidah? This is the issue of what here? Without a question. What you believe. So if Nawawi made this mistake, how is it even permissible for us to study his books, read from his books, benefit from his books? Rather, the first book that we say to study is what? Hadith. But at the same time we say, Brother Ala, who's well known, well respected, we know where he studied, he said something in a lecture that was controversial, or he did something which was controversial, or maybe he did make a mistake. And we immediately say what? Don't take anything from him. Leave him alone. Stay away from him. Well, he's a very beneficial brother. If he shot 99 arrows or 100 arrows and he made 99 of them and he missed one, wouldn't it make sense to take the 99 and avoid the one mistake? Say, no, that's not the way of the Salaf. And the Salaf, they would avoid those types of people that had these errors, that had their mistakes. But at the end of the day, we still keep reading what? Nawawi's book. And what she's saying, tabarruk bis-salihin wa atharihim. Praying in the places in which what? They what? Pray. This is where this righteous sheikh prayed. That's why I'm going to pray in the masjid. This is where this abid, this saint, this wali prayed. I'm going to what? Pray there. Kayf hada. Isn't that a bit hypocritical and contradictory now? But they're going to say, no, it's a difference. And no, he was a scholar. And Allah is just a student of knowledge. In actuality, is there a difference in that, Abu Sayyid? A mistake is a what? And according to you and your interpretation, the way of the Salaf is what? I don't want to hear anything you have to say. What did it say? Wala nus kalim. He says, don't tell me half of a statement. Cover his ears. That's what they say now. So that's out the window. Scholar, student makes no what? Makes no difference. The truth is the truth, the falsehood is the what? No matter who says it. Unless you actually don't believe that. And it's clear that you don't believe that because it keeps coming up. It's reoccurring now. He's a scholar. He's a student. He can't say that, but he can. Says who? Who said that? Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he knew the answer to the question about the date palm tree. And the only reason why he didn't speak is because there were older people in front of him. And the older Sahaba, they didn't know what tree the Prophet was talking about. He says that there's a tree in which there's a resemblance between the tree and the believer. Ibn Umar says, فَوَقَعَ النَّاسُ فِي شَجَرِ الْبَوَادِي. He says the people, they thought about what? The trees in the wastelands, this tree and that tree. And the Prophet was only talking about the date palm tree, the nakhla. So Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, the point from the hadith is that what? The youngest one, what? He knew it. And the older ones, what? Didn't know it. So that is the only thing that we have. Haqq and batil. If a scholar's ijtihad is wrong, it means nothing. If a student of knowledge, if he's right, then it means what? Something. That's the rule. So that's out the window. Or some of them, they'll say, well, no, he's dead. He's dead. So he's not alive. He's not calling to falsehood like Brother Ala is. He's calling to it. People can still have a fitna with him. They still can be attached to him, so on and so forth. Did the Salaf As-Saalih ever make a distinction between those who are dead and those who are alive? The brother, he says, I only follow the Prophet and the companions, nobody else. Did they even have this situation in their lifetime? Was there a time in which someone lived and died and people were attached and put through a test on the trial with that person? Did they even have the opportunity to do that? Or are you getting this principle, this dhabit, this regulation from a what? A scholar today. He's saying the difference between Nawawi's works, you can read them because he's dead, but this modern day scholar, you can't because he's alive. Did the Salaf even have that? Did they even speak on that? So in actuality, you're no longer following but you're following the interpretation of a what? Of this modern day sheikh. He may be right. He may be wrong. But you're not following because the Salaf, they never even said that. The Salaf, they never what? They never said that. Everybody clear on this or not? Or they may say, well, no, only a few people read these books, but everyone listens to him. So that's why we have to warn from him and not warn from Nawawi. What's the first book you should study when you go overseas? First book of hadith is what? For the hadith. Oh man, it is an excellent book. Nawawi. Wow. So his book is so good and everyone agrees unanimously this is the first book to study in hadith. So he has to be what? So let me read his other books. And when I learn Arabic, I'm going to what? And then the falsehood and the batil I'm going to come across, etc. So what excuse do you make now? For saying burn his CD, get rid of his books because of this, because of that. And for argument's sake, you're right. Let alone the fact that in most cases, Abdul Qawi, the one who's criticizing is what? Is mistaken. He's mistaken. He's the Mufti. In most cases, let alone if it's an issue of ijtihad, if it's different views, different proofs and evidences. So the concept of hypocrisy. Don't listen to him no matter what you do, no matter what is beneficial, but read and study and benefit from Ibn Hajar, from Nawawi, who clearly made mistakes in Aqidah. Rather, some of them said, and Allah knows best, is this the truth or not? Some of them said, no, they didn't make mistakes in Aqidah. And they said they were Ash'ari. There was no, they had Ash'ari. No, they were what? That was the default. And the hadith culture, which obviously brings the understanding and the practice of the Salaf with it, that was the thing that laid a layer on top of the what? Ash'ari cake. What's first, the cake or the what? Or the frosting? So many people today, they say, Ibn Hajar and Nawawi, they say the cake was what? Ahl Sunnah. Ahl Sunnah. But this mistake, this influence, so that's just on the top, the glazing on top, the icing on top. And somebody else may say, no, abadan, no way. Rather, they were what? Ash'ari from the get-go. The madhab, Egypt, Sham, the 7th, 8th, 9th century. And because they dealt with Bukhari and Muslim and this and that, it forced them to do what? Have a better direction than the one who was just purely involved in fiqh. Or purely involved in lugha. Everybody understand this? One who's just purely involved in qira'at. Islamic history when you study it. The scholars who studied hadith and dealt with hadith They were further away from much misguidance than those who had studied fiqh and usul. Because the hadith culture is so aggressive. It forces you to what? Some type of cleanliness to you. It's not going to leave us so much space for too much dirt. But if you're studying usul and everything is qala wa qila wa fulan wa ghazali and this one and that one and this one, this intellectual, this philosophical thing, then it's what? Whole different. Everybody understand the difference? This is very hypocritical. And the reason why the people have made these different principles, well, it's a book, he's a scholar, he's Arab, this person's not Arab, it's modern day. The only reason why they made up these principles is because they're trying to run from contradiction. They know that it doesn't make sense. We don't take nothing from no one who has a mistake. But we do take from Ibn Hajar, an-Nawawi, and this one and that one. Suyuti, and this one and that one. And these people had all types of issues and things that they said concerning Aqidah. Everybody understand this? So this is very, very dangerous. It's very what? Very dangerous. And this is what happens when we bring new things. We bring new elements, and then we try to keep the orthodox way, but it's clearly tainted. You're going to look foolish now. You're going to look what? You're going to look foolish. Don't listen to anything he has to say, even though he's beneficial and he's helping you out. But take from him, and he's saying what? Tabarruk bis-salihin. Take the barakah of the what? The righteous. What they leave behind? He left a pot in his house. I'm going to grab the pot and drink out of it. And that is what? Barakah in the pot. Or put on his clothes, or I'm going to pray and where he prayed. Everybody understand? It's like sports. You go to the museum. Or you go to the headquarters. They say, these are the original gloves of Muhammad Ali. He's like, wow. You're training in the same gym which Joe Frazier trained. This is where he used to hit the heavy bag. You're going to like... You're going to feel his presence there, huh? Boxing with you. Everybody understands that there are many other statements and actions, what? Like this. With regards to Aqidah, let alone other issues. So I have to be mindful of this. And an interesting fact is that who are the companions that sought the barakah of the Prophet ﷺ's hair and his sweat? Was it Abu Bakr and Umar? Was it the Kibar Sahaba? Or those who were less than the major companions? That's just food for thought. That's what? Food for thought. Not saying that it's haram. But the Prophet's actual physical presence, his physical being, and the things that fell from his body. But just for food for thought, the people that did that from the Sahaba, who were they? The learned companions that were with him all of the time? Or the people that came to Islam here and there? Huh? Be mindful of that. Moving forward.